Alright, hello from Japan and welcome to Japan Vintage Camera, where today I'm going to be doing a review of the Konica 3A rangefinder camera. Now, if you're interested in buying a Konica 3A or other camera, please check out my eBay or Etsy stores. I'll post links to both stores in the description below. So let's begin. So the Konica 3A was produced in Japan in the 1950s. The Konica 3A was one of the last variations of the Konica number series of cameras, which began with the Konica 1, which started production in the early post-war years. The Konica 1 evolved into the Konica 2, 2A, 2B, 3, 3A, and 3M cameras. I have a 3M right here, and 3M is basically a 3A camera with a 50mm 1.8 hexagon lens and a built-in selenium light meter, which almost never works. If you have a 3M with a working light meter, count your lucky stars, and I hope you're enjoying your life among the 1%. Everything that I have to say about the 3A applies to the 3M from this point on. A good thing about the Konica 3A and what sets it apart from other cameras of this vintage is the quality, materials, and workmanship, which are just simply amazing. This is a wonderful camera to operate, just to hold. You can feel the quality which is inside of it. In the post-war years, when the yen was very cheap and it was very expensive to import the raw materials to make cameras and other machinery. In order to make cameras for a reasonable price, many companies cut down on the quality of the materials which they used. If you have an old Petri or a Tehran camera, you'll find that the metal is quite thin, the cameras are easily dented. If you have a stain on the chrome and you try to polish the stain off, you might polish off the chrome as well. Those aren't issues with the 3A. It seems they spared no expense when they made these cameras. The top and bottom covers are made of brass, and it's quite thick and strong. It's quite hard to dent one of these cameras. You really have to drop it or hit it hard to do so. The chrome finish is beautifully done. It's very thick and has a wonderful satin finish to it. It's easily comparable to Leica or like a Nikon S3 or SP, and from my personal experience, it's probably even better than those. The leatherette is nice. It can crack sometimes, but cracked leatherette is a little bit hard to find in these cameras. It offers a really good grip, and it looks really good as well. We're going to go ahead and start looking at the features and operations of the camera, and we're going to start with the top cover. So here we have the shutter button and the film counter window. On the other side we have the film rewind knob, and here we have the flash shoe. Underneath the flash shoe is the access port for the vertical adjustment of the rangefinder. To adjust the vertical adjustment, remove this screw, slide off the cover, and you'll find the access port near the back. And the screw is about 8mm or so inside the hole. If we move to the back of the camera, we have the viewfinder window. It's not particularly large, but if you wear glasses, it's still usable enough. It has either a plastic or metal housing, depending on when the camera was made. This cap here covers the horizontal adjustment. If you need to adjust the rangefinder in the camera, remove this cap by turning it counterclockwise. Please don't use pliers or another tool to remove it. The best way to remove it is just press a piece of rubber, like from a rubber inner tube or something, and turn it counterclockwise, and it will come off, and you'll find the rangefinder screw, horizontal adjustment screw, just underneath. If we move to the front of the camera, you notice it has a very large viewfinder window, quite a large rangefinder window, and also the matte window here, which allows light onto projected frame lines. The most amazing feature of the Konica 3A is its wonderful viewfinder and rangefinder system. Like the Leica or other high-quality cameras, the Konica uses solid prisms for the viewfinder and the rangefinder. And unlike other cameras, most cameras, or any cameras of its era, the frame lines in the Konica 3A compensate for both parallax and image size. So when you're focusing with the rangefinder camera, the lens is here in the center and the rangefinder is here. They're in different locations. So as the focus distance changes, what you're looking at, what you're seeing through the viewfinder might not be the same as what you see through the lens. So the parallax correction centers your subject in the viewfinder, so it's also centered in the film. And that way, your subject isn't missing the top of their head or missing the bottom of their feet or legs. Everything is where it's supposed to be. But the other feature, a lot of people don't realize that as you focus on closer subjects or farther subjects, that the size changes a little bit. And the Konica 3A compensates for the difference in the distance. This feature was first used in the Konica 3A, and then it was carried into the later cameras like the S1.6, S2, and S3 and such. It's an amazing feature, and it's one of the things that really makes this a superb camera. If we move further down, we come to the self-timer. A very simple thing, just push it all the way down to the bottom. And here we have the shutter cocking lever and film winding lever. It's a double stroke system like the M3, so push on it twice to cock the shutter and wind the film. And moving to the lens barrel, the aperture and lens speed are changed by turning these two dials. The front dial is for the shutter speed, and it goes from B to 1 second to 1/500th of a second. And then the rear dial adjusts the aperture. Now, on this camera, I have disengaged what is called the EV lock. Many cameras made in the 1950s featured an EV lock, which locked the shutter speed and aperture speed rings together and allowed you to more simply use an EV system for setting the shutter speed and aperture speed for the light. Light meters at the time would have an EV number, so you would just turn until the black EV number matched what you had on your dial, and then you would be good to go. But the EV system is a little bit difficult to use on the Konica 3A camera. On most cameras, it's quite simple to override the EV system. You just turn one ring harder than the other and it works. But it's not so on this. The EV system on the 3A is a little bit complicated. As you can see, it's working on this one. All the rings are turning. But to get the rings to turn independently, I have to push back on the lock ring and then try kind of walk it over to get the setting I want. That makes it very difficult if you're trying to adjust the shutter speed and aperture for quickly changing situations. So on all these cameras, I always disengage the EV lock. This camera just arrived in the mail yesterday, and I haven't done anything to it yet. This camera will get a full overhaul. The shutter will be overhauled, the lens elements cleaned, the viewfinder and rangefinder prisms will be removed and cleaned. The timing mechanism will be adjusted, and this camera will be like new when it's ready to go. But the only weak point to these cameras is the EV system. If you want to buy one of these cameras completely original with the EV system intact, I can leave it that way for you. If you have a camera which you would like to disengage the system, just maybe I'll post a video showing how to do that. And if you would like buy a camera and you would like the EV system intact on it, I can always put it back in. All right, so moving away from the lens body, we move to the bottom of the camera. And on the bottom we have the latch which opens the door. So we have a ring here which we pull downward, and we use this to turn the latch so the marker points toward the O for the open position. And then just push and the door opens. After you close the door, always make sure to lock the latch by turning it 180 degrees and pushing the ring back down. The reason is that so you change the film and you close the door and everything looks okay, but you go and you set the camera down on a hard surface and the film door pops open and exposes your film. So always make sure to lock and secure the latch on the bottom. So anyway, that's my review today, or my tour of the Konica 3A camera. I hope you liked it and you found it informative. I'll be posting videos on other cameras in the future, so stay tuned. And once again, if you would like one of these cameras or this particular camera, just please click on the link below, or links below, and see what I have available. Thank you very much, and see you next time.